rename BioTitan WP, and that's the reason why the product will only be available in May. It's because okay, sorry, was talking in the background. I'm not used to that webinar. Sorry for that. Yes, so after the name change, we're going through a name change to PMRA. This product, Bioceres, you can see there's a lot of label non-PMRA, and it's just to avoid the confusion in between those. So let's start in. I think it's important to know a little bit who is Anatis. For most of you guys, you probably never heard of Anatis. We're a small company in the South Shore in Montreal, in Montreal, Canada, Montreal, Quebec. So this company was formed in 2005 by Sylvia Todorova. She's a PhD. She's an associated professor at the University of Quebec in Montreal. Company has been in operation in 2008 with some investor that joined the group. They're still in there, so I think it's a good proof of our concept. What we do, we develop and manufacture biological control agent. So we grow bugs. So we grow beneficial insect and develop the bioinsecticides as well. So we got two sites, one in the South Shore where we produce the insect, the other one it's in Laval. It's a laboratory where we do all quality control of the bioinsecticides, so the BioTitan. Just to give you a spread, the active ingredient, all lot of the active ingredient goes through a QC, so a quality control. And after that as well, when we do produce the finished product, we go again through another quality control. So we're really strict on that. So this is a few picture of what's our site. So we're actually on the top left, that's the farm. You'll see we have an extension now getting built up. So in terms of last thing about the just general Anatis, we do in terms of beneficial insect and predatory mite, we do produce 9 of them ourselves and distribute about 20 others. Trichogarma, it's quite used in the field as well, and most of the rest has some used in greenhouse. And then we got the Bioceres and BioTitan. It's a base of Beauveria bassiana, the strain it's Ant03. So this is now available in greenhouse. I just see I made an orthograph error there. It's available in greenhouse for more than 6 years now in Canada, and field and turf for just a few days now. Also, Beauveria bassiana has been used for quite a while around the world. It's I'll explain a little bit what is this. And if you see at the top, at the bottom left, you see a grub there, and right beside you see a white foamy grub. This is actually a grub that was infected with the Beauveria bassiana, and after it dies, the spores is coming out again of the grub and can infect others. So it will look like that, for example, after it dies. So how does it work? It's a parasitoid mycological fungi. So it's a contact, and when the insect touch the spores will actually grow inside or inside the insect and then feed from the blood and the liquid. It's working against pretty much every stage of the insect, so the egg, the nymph, larva, and diaposing insects. A good thing as well for people that, for example, outside of Ontario, if you're in Quebec and you're allowed to use chemical, this could be as well a good resistance tool, because Beauveria bassiana does not create any resistance in anything. It has been used for many years. First time Beauveria bassiana was used was over 100 years, and more commercially for over 30 years in North America, for example, with one of our competitive products. So Beauveria bassiana is native to most of the soil out there. This is so we looked at over 120 strain what we were looking, it's how effective it is, how safe it is with beneficial insect, including the pollinator, and is it compatible with some other fungicide and herbicide. So that's really what we were looking at when we choose the strain N03. It was actually found in southern Montreal in the Il Peo on a tarnished plant bug in the soil. So that's where we isolate the strain the first time. And in terms of spores, it's quite widely used in agricultural crop, a lot in greenhouse as well, and field crop. This is some spores and competitive spores that are either commercialized in North America or in America, like Mithril, it's only South America, for example. It's used widely in coffee. It's one of the best tools in coffee as well. So I just showed that picture there. It's to show that the N03, it's the second in all the other strain and fungi in terms of efficiency. That allow us to have as good result or even better result with lower rate of applications in everywhere pretty much. And good thing in there is that the last name Stefan Jarosky, he's actually the founder and the guy that developed the first one that was actually really commercialized, and it's a Samity in this. So the Botanigard was developed by him, and Botanigard is like the Kleenex of these products now. This is something that still need to be proved through a couple of years of testing. We'll be starting those tests hopefully this summer with University of Laval. I'm talking with them. Beauveria bassiana, since it's native to soil, the goal it's really when we apply in the soil on the soil, it's to raise the population of those microspores. What we see, and this was a research that was made from Agricultural Canada with University of British Columbia, that in the first 20 days, it's we got 20% decrease. So we lose quite some efficiency after the first 20 days. But after that, they made the test up to 9 months. And they still, after 9 months and after overwintering, saw that the application was gaining in terms of you get some gain in terms of amount of spores. So what we want to look at, so in theory, what's happening? So if you apply and you got some a good persistence in the soil, and hopefully year after year, we'll be able to prove that if you're applying that, you're gaining in the efficiency year after year. So that will probably take 3 years at least to make that test. But that's the theory. But at least as well, if you're applying for the chinch bug, you have some efficiency in the grub. We'll tell you to still doing that. But even if it's a contact, the product stays in the soil quite a longer time. So just in general about the BioTitan WP. So that strain is native to Canada. The advantage of that, it's overwintering well. It's also well suited for our temperature here. It's a contact or ingestion, but it's the same thing. If they ingest, you probably touch them. There's no resistance. There's some compatibility with other biocontrol agent and chemical pesticide. It's very safe for you guys that will be using it or your technician. We got an 18-month shelf life when it's kept in the refrigeration or 6 months at room temperature. In terms of supply chain, after the spores are produced, we keep them at refrigeration until we blend and pack, and then again it's kept in refrigeration. And I know plant products has refrigeration capacity. So basically to say that up to the point it will be delivered to you guys, it will be kept in refrigeration. After that, if you use it right away, there's no problem. If you use it through the summer, you should not have problem if you keep them around 20-25 degrees, so regular room temperature. We will be certified organic. We are certified organic in US and Canada for greenhouse, and our our greenhouse product, we will be applying for the EcoCert in Canada. Also, for people in Ontario, we already applied for the active ingredient to be used as on retail turf if you want. So that should not be an issue. It takes around 4 weeks before having that. So we will be on time for you guys to be using it. So we'll be touching grubs and chinch bug. These are the two targeted pests that we're looking at in turf. Very interesting for you guys on the chinch bug because it's the only really product that will be suited for you to use. On grub, it's another tools in the belt. Obviously, you have already some tools there, so that's another one that you can choose. Chinch bug. I know in Quebec, it's most of the time it's only one generation we have. Last year we had two. In Ontario, most of the time you guys have two generations there. So what we want to be doing, it's targeting the nymphs. So this is it's an organic product. As early you can apply it, better it is. So as early as you start seeing some nymph, that's the best time to be using it. So best timing will be mid-May to mid-June type of thing. And if you're applying just for chinch and you see there's more, you can apply around mid-August, end of July, mid-August type of thing. Here you go, some stats. So we compared with the Delta Tagart, and what this shows as well, it's yes, you can see trees application at 7 days interval. In fact, it's the equivalent of the large dose. Large dose, it's 80 grams per 100 square meters in one application. And as well, you'll see there's not that many difference in the low and high dose. And that's the reason why it was well accepted, the lower dose. So I will say, if you have a huge infestation, to go with the high dose, otherwise you should be good with the low dose. So it just shows that it's working well in terms of chinch, and also very comparable to the Botanigard product that it's used where they can. Same thing on adult. This is to say as well, it does work well on adult, but it will work better on earlier stage nymphal. So because obviously it needs to go through the skin, so thicker the skin is, tougher it is for the roots to go through. But you still will have some good effect with the adult as well. You'll see this slide. I like this slide because it shows that with time you gain you gain in terms of efficiency with time. Since it's a microfungi, imagine if you leave a tomatoes on the counter, how long it takes before the I just have rot in my head, but before you'll see that white or greeny foam that nobody likes to see. I will take this analogy to see it's a microfungal the same way. So it takes a few days before the spores is taking roots and be active and kill the insect. Usually we see in between 3 to 7 days, with most of them around 5 days, you'll start really seeing the effect and the diseased insect. Same thing after 11 days from the application, you're still gaining in efficiency. So grub, same thing on the grub. I think that's the best thing. If you're applying on chinch mid-May to mid-June, for example, and grub, if you're applying a second time on the chinch, you can apply and do a double down with an application on grub at the same time. Some stats that we have on the grub. You see Bioceres GR, that will be a granular that will be launched next year. We need to do a few things. So in here, you see that we have around 80% of success with that. This and the other one on Chinch Bug as well, we're reaching around 80%. The goal of that, and probably while you're using it, it will be very difficult to reach those numbers. I'm really comfortable in between 55 to 65% success with that product. It has some sensitivity, and that one made in labs or trials with people that only does that for a living in terms of trials. So obviously all condition was there to reach that 80%, but it shows that it has potential to work very well. So the goal of that is to reduce the population enough that the turf won't see the effect and could fight against infestation. So best practice, that's where we go in there. That's the difficulty for you guys that you may have. I will say that it's not as sensitive as the nematodes, but does have some sensitivity. So has some sensitivity to UV. So the best thing will be to apply early in the day or later in the day or in a cloudy day. Same thing, no over 30 degrees Celsius. They actually that's a positive thing compared to nematodes. It doesn't die at that point. It's actually going dormant and will be reactivated. We got a buffer there, so it goes on dormant under 15 degrees Celsius and over 33 degrees. Start dying at 37 though, but the soil, it's quite rare that it reach those level at a certain depth. So it goes dormant, it goes reactivated. It has some sensitivity to humidity as well. So of course, if you guys are treating in reactive when it's mid-July, you might be best to ask your client to water a little bit, to put some humidity in the ground to help the activity. And that's actually one of the reasons why when it's a humid time, it's you have less change. It's actually because of Beauveria bassiana that is on the soil that it's getting activated and kills some of that change. So what we do, it's by raising that population, even if it's drier, it will be active, and it's a contact. When you do it, you'll be touching and active. But if you want to keep on persistence and keep being active when it's dry, it would be best. Otherwise, as soon as it's getting back humid, it will be reactivating as well with higher amount. What will we be suggesting for a white grub treatment? It's to do a good watering. So we want to bring the spores inside the ground. When we will be treating for chinch bug, what we want to do, it's just to shower if you want, or to have a light watering after, just to bring it in on top of the soil. So we want to bring it from the leaf to the soil surface. Best application for chinch will be May, June, and same thing in Quebec, maybe a little bit later in Quebec, so a more June, end of June type of thing, and mid-August, September, which will coordinate as well with an application for the white grubs. So if you want to treat both of them, you'll have optimal result by 2 application, one in later May or mid-May to June, and one mid-August, September. The rate of application is 40 grams to 80 grams per 100 square meters. If you read the label, you'll see it's grams per liters, but we made the transformation. So Anatis, it's a R&D team with. So when I came in there, I said the people when they're using it to make sure they want to know what they need for a certain superficie or certain surface. So label will be changed next year. You can use what you're using in terms of calibration. So 8 to 10 liters of water, you guys usually probably using the most. So you can still use that, no problem. The package, it's in 500 grams. So that will be good for 13,500 square feet. We will, is it okay? So I forgot to add that to there. Premix will be necessary to be made. So to make the premix, you take 1 part of Bioceres or BioTitan to 2 parts of water. You can use either a jug of 10 liters and just shake it for 30-40 seconds, strong shaking with your hand. Or the best tools you can use is you're actually using a pail and a drill and the paint mixing bit, you know, that long drill bit that you put to mix your gallon of painting. That will be the best thing to do that. You shake it to about 30 seconds to 40 seconds. Reason of that, it will create a better mix as well. There's some ingredient in there that needs to be solubilized and needs to be shaked to and mixed to achieve that. That's all I have. You have my contact info, so make sure feel free to contact me directly or to pass with your sales representative at Plant Product if you guys have any question.
Maurice, thank you. I have to apologize. I thought everybody could hear me at the beginning. I guess we forgot to hit start presentation, but we got the important part, which was you, Maurice. So everybody could hear you. I just wanted to circle back because I know there's a few questions here. And I should start over by introducing myself. My name is Jason Ireton. I'm the Ontario Turf Sales Manager for Plant Products. I did at the beginning want to thank all you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to Maurice. I'm not going to go through everything I read out early when nobody could hear me, but I do want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and we will post it on our plantproducts.com website for anybody that you know wants to see it within your staff, or if you need to rewatch it to get a note out of there, or as Maurice just said, his contact information is there. Also, our entire sales team for Ontario and Quebec, Carl Marks leads our team in Quebec. He is on the call. Our team here in Ontario, our golf and landscape lawn care team are on the call as well. So reach out to your rep. They're happy to answer any questions you may have and certainly help you get the product. And then I don't need to introduce Maurice, but Maurice, for those of you that didn't hear, was the director or is the director of Director of Business Development at Anatus Bioprotection. And they're the ones bringing this new tool to the tool shed. Our goal for you guys is to have more tools in your toolbox. We obviously know that chinch was a devastating insect last year with how dry it was. It wasn't hard to see how bad the infestation was on lawns, and I'm sure the amount of calls you guys must have received. So we're really excited to have this tool for you. And just a quick FYI, I know Maurice talked about it. The label's been registered as Bioceres, ready to go. However, they are making a name change to BioTitan. This will take a little bit of time. That's hopefully going to spit out here in mid-May. And with that comes then Maurice sending us product and we getting product to you. We're going to do our best to make sure that we can do all of that. You'll work through your sales rep to get your orders in and make it happen. As Maurice said, it's a 500 gram package, foil bag. These are going to retail at $70 per unit, just for those of you that are probably wanting to ask that question. Also in the question box here, and I know I'm speaking fast, we get a lot of the same questions, so we should be okay to answer most of these. One of the questions I think was addressed by Maurice, but it was how much water does this require? So it really becomes what target pest you're going for. If you're going early and you're going after chinch bug, we just, as Maurice said, we just want to knock it off the leaf blade, get it to the top of the soil for that targeted pest. If you're going for white grub, so if your application is going to be later in the season, so that August, September application, we got to water that through the thatch into the soil for our targeted pest. And for those reasons, I can answer the next question. And the question was presented, can you mix this with Fiesta? I certainly understand why you want to do that. You want to go to the lawn and make one trip. Unfortunately, we're not going to recommend that. Your Fiesta needs to be at a different targeted spot. You want to apply your Fiesta on the leaf blade to the point of runoff, obviously onto the weeds, so it does its job and kills your weed. The targeted pest you're going for, whether it's chinch or white grub, you're going to need to water in. So obviously a little bit of water with the chinch and a lot more water with the white grub. So for that reason, I'm going to suggest that you do this separately. I also hope that you can maybe capture some more money out of that. By the next trip coming in, you can add that to your package, but I know that's easier said than done. But that's my answer on whether you should be mixing Fiesta and Bioceres or BioTitan together. When during the season do you apply this product? I think as the question came in, Maurice covered it off. So Chinch Bug, you're looking at May, June applications. If you have heavy infestation, you're going to want to do another one in the fall for Chinch. But May, June is when you're going to want to apply your Chinch. And for white grub, if you're using this product for white grub, you're going to want to apply that in August, September. And I think we covered the rates, 40 grams to 80 grams is your use rate. Let me just check. Oh, there was a question, Maurice, and I don't know the answer. I know we had this before. We had it on European crane fly, does it work? But the question was, will the product work on wire worms? What do you know there, Maurice?
No, this is it's usually not as I'm aware. It's not on label, and I don't think we have ever tried it, or if we did, we were not successful on it. So it's I would say no in terms of it, because I know they had been some work, and if it's not on the label, that's probably mean that we did not show some efficiency enough to do it.
Yeah, Maurice, it's Kelly. I think that'd be a stretch from wireworms. It's a totally different family of pests, and Bavaria is usually pretty specific on the family of insects it likes to infect. So I would say no, but if we find out different, we'll surely reach out to the person who asked that question and follow up.
Yes, but like I say, I don't think it will be working on it.
Okay. Along the same line, I guess, the question is, what other insects are affected?
Well, on different label, obviously there's a lot. If you looked at the other label, in greenhouse is registered on on aphid, whitefly, on trips. It's registered. It will be registered on the pepper weevil. That's coming soon. Colorado potato beetle. So all these insects will be active, but it's not on the label when treating on turf, for example. In terms of outside use, on the same label, you have the Colorado potato beetles, and you have also the tarnished plant bug in that, but that will be for more crop use. So any of those and direct family of those, usually we got good success on it.
Great. I think I have the next question, but in case I've misunderstood, has it been approved for use in Ontario? So the question is, the answer should be the label is registered. Bioceres is registered for use. However, Bioceres is changing the name to BioTitan, so they need a bit more time to do that. But we fully expect to have product available and ready to use for the market in May. And yes, it will be registered. It is registered for you to use. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and just to confirm, in Ontario, you're probably asking the active ingredient needs to be registered to be allowed on retail turf, which is for to make it beautiful. It's not for crops, so you need a permit for that. So the application was done. We're expecting by the end of April to receive all authorization. In Ontario, it takes about 30 days. So it will be registered for use in Ontario, the active ingredient, yes. So this is not, if you looked on the website, you won't see the Bavaria Bassiana N03 yet, but it's in the process, and the process takes less than a month.
Okay. Good question here, and I'm sure it's one everybody's wondering. Do we expect, so I look at you, Maurice, but I think I can answer this a little bit too from our end. Do you expect any supply issues with this product?
You want to go, or I'll go on it?
So my comment is, I'm not one to be a pushy salesperson, but I will try and answer this as nice as possible. earlier you have an understanding as to how much product you want to put your hands on and play with, because you have the rate, you have the package size, and you have a better understanding of your customers and what their appetite may look like and how you can work it into your program being March 25th. I would highly recommend you talk to your plant product sales rep and get in the queue. We're going to do our best to make sure everybody gets their hands on it. I know Maurice has told me that, and I'll let him answer his end, but he's going to be able to produce a fair amount monthly. But I would imagine there's going to be a lot of hands wanting this product in May. So we're going to do our best to forecast. I'm working with the team regularly, daily, to talk about this. So we hope that there will not be a supply issue, but I cannot guarantee that. If the demand is through the roof, obviously it's going to be first in, first out on our end, and we'll manage it that way. But Maurice, do you have anything to add on that?
Yes, I will add. I think one point. It's this product. It's always produced in a low number of package at the time. So so what will happen is my goal is to have quite like Jason said, quite a lot of product available in May. If ever there's we got some missing for the first order in May, that doesn't mean we won't have it later. So I'm not strict to some of the large pest chemical company out there that do one productions a year and that's what they have. So we will have ability to produce more through the summer if ever we need to as well. So my goal is to be able to supply everything in May for you guys to apply. But if anything happen, we can work with plant prod to see in these number how much could be delivered later for grub, for example, application, and then deliver in there. So if ever I miss some product in May, that my goal is for you guys to not miss the opportunity through the summer as well.
Great. Lots of questions, lots of interest. Next question is a good one too. How safe is this product on household pets such as dogs, like dogs?
No problem. It's very safe. Very safe to human, very safe to household pets. There's no problem. Kelly touched it a little bit. The Beauveria bassiana, it's really targeting certain family of insect, and the rest is safe. Give an example of how safe it is to other as well. We're right now doing some tests this summer. We'll be doing some tests in strawberry, for example, that bees will be carrying the Beauveria bassiana into the flowers of the plant. So this is just to show that it's really targeting certain families of insect, and everything else it's safe.
Great. Has this product been tested for bill bug or crane fly? I know we had this last time we did one of these.
Yeah, crane fly should not, bill bug. I will say probably, but crane fly, no, that's for sure. I will need to get back on. But again, if it's not on the label, technically I can't say anything. Or what I can do is to go see a competitive product that their strain react quite a similar of that, and see they have a lot more on the label because they've been around for 30 years and only 6 for us. So we're still adding in there, but in my knowledge, the bill bug is not part of what will be tested in this summer. So this is not something that probably we see a good effect.
Okay.
Is it okay or?
I think so.
Okay.
We have another one of the same questions. So it sounds like leather jacket's quite a problem. Obviously it is. We've seen them all over the place, but have studies shown any control of leather jacket was another question.
I'll get back to you because we had that question the other day as well. I will ask the question right after I'm back, and I'll be able to write that to you, Jason.
Okay. The next question is copy of the presentation. So I think I can answer that. Yeah, if anybody's looking for a copy of this presentation, we're happy to provide. We have it. The reps, all sales reps should have this presentation. So Maurice, I think you're okay if we share. Is that correct?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Does it have beneficial insects?
Sorry?
Does it harm
beneficial?
insects?
No,
I read the first
most
one.
of them, no. We have, obviously, by being a beneficial insect company as well, we did test them for quite a while. Bear with me a second. I will see there's 2 insect that actually has some sensibility. That I can answer, no problem. Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll jump that. I'll avoid what is everything on my computer. So it's if you guys working in greenhouse, the Aureus and the Dixiphus are not compatible, but everything else, it's either 100% compatible or moderated compatible at regular dose, so there's no problem. But yeah, so these are the only 2 beneficials that are not compatible. All the rest has compatibility with it.
I'll add a little context there. It's Kelly. In the greenhouse side, that Bavaria strain we integrated into all of our greenhouse crops and very compatible with everything that we introduce, and also with pollinators. So it's really safe for the good bugs and the people working in the greenhouse.
Exactly, and as I mentioned as well, the pollinator, we're making some tests right now, and in the greenhouse, our competitive products, it's on the label as well to use the bees and the bumblebees to spread the Bavaria bacillae or the product into the little crack of the flowers and everything. So this is very, very safe for all pollinator.
Great. Next question, will it be available for retail sale? So
it will become available probably at one point. It's there's a label that was registered at the same time, but not this summer, and I can't tell when it will be because nothing. It's there's some discussion happening now, but nothing precise as of now.
I think the safe answer there is a domestic label. However, it probably won't be marketed for sure in 21.
Oh, that's for sure in 21. No, we'll see in the future, but yeah, exactly.
Okay, this question says the recommendation is plus minus 60 grams in plus minus 6 liters of water. Can you use it in 2 times the water and apply it at double the rate since it is diluted? So double the rate, if you went, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to process that myself. That would be above label rate then, would it not? 60 grams, because the label rate's between 40 and 80 grams. So if you went at 60 grams, you'd be applying it at above label rate. I'm not sure why you want to do that. So I'm just talking to myself here.
Yeah, well, usually you should be good at 40 grams per 100. So that will be at 36 roughly grams per 1,000. And you don't need to put more water than regular, like 8 to 10 liters. If you want to apply more, I will not see any problem. You're probably asking that because you're thinking I'm not going back to water in. I will not recommend, but I will not see any problem.
I think I'll just interject. Whoever asked that question, if they could reach out to their sales rep, because there must be a specific reason why you're asking that question, and maybe ask your rep, and then we can communicate with Maurice to get a better appreciation of the why. Because without the why, we're kind of struggling. But great question. But we'll just have to circle back on a one-on-one on that.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay. I'm looking at you again, Kelly, but I think the answer is yes to this next one. Are notification signs required? Okay.
I think this question probably comes from Ontario, and I'm going to assume if you have to post Fiesta, you'll have to post this. So it's probably a green sign,
Yes.
because it'll be allowable product.
Okay.
Okay, just lost my spot here, but I do know the next question. Is there a granular version of this product coming? And the answer is yes. Maurice, I think you did touch on it, but the WP is introduced this year. You're hoping to have a granular version of this product in 2022, but
Yep.
as of now, it'll be WP and sprayable version only in 2021. Is that fair?
Exactly. So it's registered. The granular is actually registered, but we have to do some modification into the recipes and suppliers, and some modification on the label. That takes about a year. So hopefully by next year we'll be ready to bring it into market. But 2021 it won't be available. Only the wetting powder to mix and spray.
Okay. What about in the tank? Mixing this in the tank. The question says, does fluoride or other chemicals in the water affect the product?
Regular water, no problem. Tap water, we've been using it. Chloride, I'll say if you're a very, very high chloride content type of water, it's known to be. We did not really see an effect. But if you're using regular tap water for most of the time, Laval tap water is not known to be the best out there, and that's the one we made all our tests, and there's no problem. In terms of pH, it's roughly around 5.5 to 7. So anything's slightly acid, it's the best. If it's at 8, there's no problem either. The only thing I would say is with tests, we test it and there's no problem to keep it like a day in your tank. We still, for better efficiency, will suggest you, because it's not suggested to apply at noon with the bright sun anyway. So to do 2 mix, one for the morning and then after in the afternoon to redo another mix in your tank. If you're unable to do that, you still can use it. But you might lose a little bit of like a 5-10% efficiency through the end of the day. But usually you should be good outside of that.
Okay. Is it safe to say that the first application in late May or June for chinch should be at the low or a high rate? I think you said 40 grams would be enough for your first rate.
40 grams will be enough. That's the thing. It's it will stay there. And also after the insect dies and you see that white form, if there's another chinch bug touching this insect, it should be infected as well. If you have a huge infestation and an history of having huge infestation, yes, then you can apply the high rate. Otherwise, you should be good with the low. With all the testing we did, the difference in a regular infestation, it's about 5% in between the high and the low rate. So but if you have a very big, if we're getting to last summer, for example, where it was out of control, yes, maybe then use the high rate. Otherwise you should be good with the low rate for 90-95% of the time, no problem.
Next question is, do you treat the infected area or the entire lawn? My answer to that would be, obviously I'm selling product, but I'm not saying it to sell more, but I would be treating the entire lawn, because you're going to treat an area and then all of a sudden the area over here is going to be infected. So my reply would be treat the whole lawn.
Yep, I agree with you.
Okay. If it has a PCP number, will it need to be posted? The answer is yes. Do we have to take the screens out of the tank or nozzles? This is a good question. We've had this before, like they did with nematodes.
Exact. In practice, when the premix is done well, we did not see any problem with that product with any screen. Everything is micronized in there, so it's particle are very, very small. You should be good with your screen on. If you see it's clogging, it's probably because the premix was not done enough, I will say.
Okay. Another good question is, how long does this product last after you mix it? So I'm assuming the question's asked because you go out and treat some lawns and you have some still in the tank. Can you put it away for the night and get back at it tomorrow?
It's not recommended. If you did mix it later in the day, for example, and go through the winter, we made the test and the loss inside of 24 hours were marginal. So yes, you can, but I will not suggest. So don't do on purpose. If it happened, okay, but I will suggest as much as possible to not do it because you have some loss of efficiency.
Okay. Is there an odor to the product?
Sorry?
Is there an odor to the product? Does it smell when you're applying it?
No. It's actually there's no problem, and there's so you won't have the neighbor knocking to the door and say, hey, you use pesticide. You should be good on that.
I'll just say that I think when you're mixing it, there's a slight earthy smell to it.
Yeah.
But when you apply it on the lawn, you would not notice if there's anything in the tank.
Exactly.
Next question is, when the granular comes to market, will you have the same watering instructions, and will you be required 1 or 2 treatments for chinch bug for the granular?
Well, it will be the same. Actually, it's pretty much yes, it will be the same. And the chinch bug, the reason I will suggest too, it's because you have the second generation later in the summer for some areas, some doesn't. So if you have only one generation where you are, you can only use once, no problem. And but the granular will be similar in terms of watering. What we will be suggesting, it's yes, it's already falling into the ground. So for chinch, for grub, yes, it will be. For chinch, I will need to make sure if we will be recommended at that point. But that should be, yeah, the best will be still a little bit of water as well to break down the spores from. It's actually going to be of a rice grain to start.
Okay.
So we want the spores to fall from that grain.
Next question is, can this product burn a lawn?
It's not phytotoxic, so it should not. And we looked at it with triple the rates with some very sensitive plants and ornamentals, and there were no problem.
Okay. And then if a re-app is needed, how long after your original treatment would you recommend a reapplication?
7 days. 7 days, it allows some spores to do it. If you see there's a huge infestation and you know you will need it, you can do 3 to 5 days. So that's really what it is on the label. It's if a reapplication is needed, 7 days. And in crop, it's every once a week, for example, they apply it. In terms of when there's a big outbreak, 3 to 5 days, you can go back there as well and spray. But since most of the result, you'll find it after 5 to 7 days, you probably want to see what kind of effect the first application is doing before, to not spray for nothing. You know, it still has some cost on the spraying.
Okay. Next question is, seeing that this is a liquid, so it's a WP converted to liquid, we're spraying it. Do you still need to wet the lawn for your targeting chinch bug? After you apply it, because I guess it has a lot to do with water volume and what you're putting out as well.
Yes, because the actual old product will stick to the leaves blade of the turf. So what you want is really just to make it fall to the ground. So you don't need a lot of water. You just need a little bit of water. So your client, or you apply it just before a small rain, and you'll be good. No problem. You don't need to do a heavy watering.
Okay. Another question is, if we only have one tank on the truck, and they're using it for Fiesta, can we empty that and then add this product to the same tank, or will the iron from the Fiesta affect the Bioceres?
We will be running some tests. The tests were not done to see at what level the compatibility is. I will assume with some salt, and like Kelly was saying, so iron might be a little bit sensitive, but until what level, that's what we need to be looking. So I will get my hand on some Fiesta and run some more tests on it. But if you will probably need to rinse that tank to make sure.
Okay. Any tips, visual test to tell if your product is properly dissolved, or just use common sense and treat it like anything else? Will it be, so I guess the question goes on to say, will the product settle and clumpy easily? So will it settle out in the tank, I guess? I imagine most tanks have agitation. You keep this rolling. If you're gonna pre-mix it with a paint mixer in a slurry and pour it through your screens, because we've established you don't have to take the screens out, will this product settle throughout the day of working the lawns, or is it pretty good in the tank? I mean, imagine driving the trucks, moving, the motion in the tank should be enough, no?
Yeah, motion of the tank when you're driving should be enough. If it's and in terms of clogging together or just getting together, you'll see after a good premix, you should not be seeing any residue. So you'll have some foam on top of it, and that's normal. The foam, it's there's some anti-foaming agent, but when you premix it, there's some foam, and it's not spores. It's actually in the slurry. There's no problem. We tested, and yeah. So when you just a slight agitation in the tank will be enough to keep it there.
I think from a visual standpoint, it's got to look like a poorly made milkshake, like a really thin milkshake.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah.
Okay, next question is the granular product. Is it still important? Cloudy day, 18 to 28 degrees. Are you still following the same protocol?
Yeah, it will be the same. So the only benefit actually for the I see there's some question there on the granular. It's really the application method. So you can go with a spreader when it will be coming into the market. But again, that's going to be only for 2022 if PMRA is fast enough to register our change on the. Because even if we change one supplier, for example, we need to go a minimum 9-month process with PMRAs. So having those small change, hopefully we'll have it by next year, but with COVID excuse, I will call it, we never know.
Great. I think we've got all the questions, unless Kelly, you see anything, or did one just pop in here? Anyone call? So yeah, again, thank you all for your time. There are no more questions. Maurice, thank you for the presentation. Again, anybody can reach out to a plant product sales rep. You can get our information off plantproducts.com. This recorded webinar will be posted there shortly by Kelly, and you should be able to get contact information from our website. So thank you very much for taking the time today and the hour to learn more about Bioceres and BioTitan, and we look forward to working with you in the future. And I'd like to wish everyone a very successful season this year. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you everybody to have assisted to the presentation.